Hello and welcome back to a new series I'm calling Scam or Deal. So in this series I'll spend money on a dubious eBay listing and then we'll see if it's a real card, a good deal, or if I get scammed. And so I'll put the listing up on screen now for this card, which I bought a couple of weeks ago. And so I saw this card listed for $14 and I thought that's way too good to be true. Something must be wrong because currently this card is going for about $50 market value on eBay in Australia. So obviously that's like, what's that, 30%? Which is crazy deal on a card, especially on eBay. So I checked the listing out, looked at the seller, and the listing itself, so when you zoom in on the picture closely, you can't see any texture on the card. And as I'm sure most of you will know, Urshifu VMAX Old Heart from Battle Styles, one of the 15 swords of the Sword and Shield era, this card should have texture. So when you don't see texture on a card, you instantly start to get a bit suspicious. However, I know from experience that especially if the card's sleeved or in a top loader or something like that, it is possible that the texture doesn't show through on the card itself. So I thought, judging by the picture, it could be a real card. Everything else looked right, the font looked right. The font is always a big thing to check. Then you want to check energy symbols, things like that. Check the typography. Check that everything looks in the right place it means to be, which is actually something that fakers get wrong a lot of the time. The other thing you want to think about is if the card has known fakes. And this card does actually have a fake. There was one listed the other day which was a fake version, and that was very obvious. You could just tell from the picture there was no texture, the foiling wasn't right. So when you know there's fakes of a card, be more suspicious. So I was checking it out. The other possibility I thought was that maybe the picture is of a real card, but they're going to send a fake card, or they're going to send something other than what you're buying, which is another possibility. The other possibility, they mispriced it, which could be it, but $14 is a weird amount. I still have no idea. So I guess let's see if the card is real. So it's hard to tell in a top loader, but it looks real. And if you get it out of the top loader, even the sleeve, it's a bit hard to tell. But if we look at it out of the sleeve and we get the focus to work, you can see that it is indeed a real card. So something to think about when you're looking at photos of old hearts and cards like that is you might not always see the texture. I remember a Reddit post a few months ago where someone posted like 12 Umbreons or something, 12 Moonbreons, and everyone in the comments was telling them they were fakes, but they were adamant they were real, and actually I think they were right, because when the cards are in a binder, the light doesn't always shine on the texture in a way that brings it out. So, conclusion of this episode is I got a deal. I still don't know what they were thinking. Like, why would you list a card like this for $14 when you could, if you listed it at $35, you probably sell it within a week. If you listed it at $25, sells instantly. I would have bought it instantly for $25. That's 50% off. I still think this card is one of the coolest cards from Battle Styles. I think it's underrated, but yeah. So that's a win. I'll add that to my collection. I could sell it, but I just like the card too much to sell. The other thing I wanted to talk about briefly in this video, which is very off topic from Battle Styles, but I've noticed a lot of EX era EXs are just disappearing off eBay in Australia. Everything seems to be getting repriced. There's like a a vintage sort of subtle, it's not, no one's really talking about it that much in the channels that I watch anyway, but a lot of these vintage cards are disappearing. So I've been following particularly the EX Latias and Latios from EX Dragon, and there's now only 2 Latias EXs left available, both PSA, I think 8 or 9, like about $400 each. And there's only 1 Latios left, and it's a damaged card. That's all you can get. The Rayquaza I got a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, in an auction. There's none of them available. The Kindra from the same set, there's a couple that are graded, but both pretty expensive. The Dragonite EX is, I think, there's a BGS 9 for like $1,900. So it's becoming almost impossible to get some of these old school EX cards in Australia, which is, it's very interesting, and it means that the price could see a lot of huge jumps in the near future, especially if they get attention. The fact that we're seeing these disappearing and the prices increase and the amount of attention they're getting is really minimal. Everyone in the space is focused on all the promos and the all the modern cards, or like the McDonald's Pikachu I've seen recently. There's that the Japanese promos, style promos. So none of the attention is going to vintage, and it's still disappearing. It's still going up in price. So I think that could be a very interesting space to watch in the future. And I'm extra glad I managed to get that Rayquaza a few weeks ago. But that's it for this video. Scam or deal, definitely got a deal there. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.